how, when there's so much genuine trauma right now, do you think we're kind of getting it lost when everything is pictured as
Yeah.
trauma? Or, I've seen situations where just normal disagreement is seen as bullying and intimidation. And I think, there's a lot of genuine bullying and intimidation. And if everything is that, it's going to get lost. How do we talk about those kinds of things
Yeah.
better in your view?
I've got a ways to go. I confess, I ran this nonprofit called Weave, the Social Fabric Project, and we had a bunch of interns who were like 20 years old. We had about 14 one summer, and they kept getting traumatized. And I finally had to tell them, you have to give me some patience here, because when I was coming up, trauma hadn't yet been invented. And that's, of course, not true. People are traumatized by war. But as a developed concept that's so much in the conversation, I do think we have overlabeled. There's real trauma in the world. There's rape, there's abuse, there's violence. But we have so overlabeled things as trauma. And the worst parts are people self-labeling as trauma. And one of the things you notice about who uses the word, I just saw a study on the airplane today, the word feeling a sense I've been traumatized is very ideologically connected. And so people on the left are much more likely to say I've experienced trauma than people on the right. And that shouldn't happen. Psychology is not a left or right thing. Psychology is just human nature. And so I think when you do extrapolate and say I've been traumatized when you haven't been, or when you've just suffered, a painful experience, then you're sort of robbing yourself of agency. And you're saying there's something has happened to me and I'm damaged. And that's just not a way to go out into the world with a sense of agency, a sense of control. And when most people go to a therapist, for example, they go because their life story has stopped working. And often because they get causation wrong. They blame other people for things they caused, or they blame themselves for things other people caused. But often they've lost a sense of agency. They tell a story about themselves in which they're powerless. And the job of a therapist, or for other people, the job of a friend, is to serve as a story editor and say, let's retell your story in which you're the hero here, in which you have control. And that's a story you can live a happy life according to. But a story in which you're the victim, which you're the one being acted upon, that's, to me, a non-functioning life story for most people, and unless they have genuinely been traumatized, in which case they need more professional care than I'm talking about here.